After 5 years break, we're back in Essen to do some amazing interviews with incredible people. Welcome to GMS Magazine at Spiel 2022. I've known Japanime games for generations. I mean, since, I don't know, the Middle Ages. It's been a very, very long time. And I've always been very fond and very keen on their games because they manage to somehow really distill Asian culture in a very efficient manner. And I like that very, very much. Now, I have Maisie with me, who you are playing an absolutely pivotal role in the company right now, and without you, Japanime games would just collapse. What do you do for the company exactly?
I do a bit of everything, but the main thing I do is translate. So I will take games like Tokyo Sidekick and translate all of the Japanese into English. Then I'll take the graphics, the Japanese graphics, and put the English words in, rearrange whatever we need to, because usually English ends up being longer, so I have to rearrange the graphics. Then if we're kickstarting something, I'll direct the video and help make the graphics for the Kickstarter and write some copy and sort of that. And then, yeah.
Okay, so you're the resident genius in the company, I get that. But what is your background? Because obviously you can speak Japanese and you're obviously an artist. Well, if you rearrange graphics and do graphic work, you're an artist. That's it. What's your background?
So I studied Japanese at university, which is where I sort of started. I was absolutely rubbish when I graduated. And I moved to Japan, and I actually worked in a glasses company to get my sort of speaking Japanese up really well. And then, but games translation was always my goal. Mm-hmm. And after a little while there, I was like, you know what, I think I'm ready to start translating. And I met Eric at Tokyo Game Market. Okay. And we hit it off really easily, and I've been working for him and a bunch of other kind of indie creators and Japanese companies ever since. Yeah. That
sounds amazing, and I don't blame you for hitting well with Eric, because he's pretty amazing. Okay, so one of the things that you've done for the company is Tokyo Sidekick, which is a pretty huge game.
Massive.
And Eric has assured me that you are the veritably most expert person in the game, because you know it inside out after translating and doing all the artwork and everything. So tell me about the game. What is Tokyo Sidekick all about?
So Tokyo Sidekick is, as you said, it's a behemoth, and it's sort of got elements of deck building, and it's pandemic-y in that you're going around the board trying to clear up incidents, defeat villains, and save Tokyo, really. Okay. And it's fully co-op. Each player will play a hero and a sidekick at the same time. You can have up to 4 players, which is great. The idea is you just sort of power up your heroes. They've got level up abilities, and their hand, so your hand is always open, and you can power up your hand with better cards. You can make it so that when you attack with your sidekick, it's even more powerful. You can give your sidekick a gadget. There's all sorts of things to do, so there's never a turn where you don't have something to do, which is really great. And yeah, once you've started kind of getting a rhythm of clearing up these incidents, defeating the villains, once you've defeated 2 of the white-bordered villains and 2 of the black-bordered supervillains, then the menace comes out.
Wow, that's huge.
There are 3 of them. This is the medium difficulty one.
Cool.
And you have to defeat 1 health bar at a time, fully. So you have to be able to do 30 damage twice and then 40 damage to this one at once. Now the trick is you can combine your attacks with other players and with their sidekicks, and the more you combine, the more powerful things become. So it's kind of this satisfying, like, oh, if I use 2 C's, then, and I've already leveled up my ability in C, then it's actually twice as much. So that's 4, plus I've got a natural ability in power, so this here is already 10, that kind of thing. And you just kind of add up everything that you've got and throw everything that you have at the villains at once.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now, is this how co-op or how competitive is this game?
It's fully co-op.
Okay, fully co-op.
Yeah.
We like that. I presume the sidekicks and the characters can be intermingled and
Yes, exactly.
Okay.
So when you play, you've always got like new combinations to do. The rulebook does have suggested like combos, especially based on their stories.
Okay.
But you can, as long as, in my opinion, as long as you have a healer in the game, you can go with whatever combos you need.
You sound like a role player to me.
Maybe a little bit.
Fair enough. That's fair enough indeed.
These are the damage cards that at the end of your turn, if there's still a villain on the map,
Okay.
these damage cards will come into your deck
Okay.
and will start clogging it up. So you need that healer to get them to go back into the damage deck.
Okay. So very quickly, tell me one round of this game. How will it work?
One round of the game.
Okay.
Okay, so on your turn, you can do any one of these maneuvers. So you can move, you can make your deck a little better, you can resolve an incident, attack, you can push your characters together, or you can start powering up. So, for example, if I was playing Chamaru over here, this little dog character, he's nicely placed on one of the incidents already.
Okay.
So, if my character is both of these guys together, I would probably start with using Chamaru to resolve an incident, which on the card there it costs 1 power. So at the moment my hand is quite powerful, so maybe it feels like a waste, but I still need to get rid of that incident. So I would turn my power card sideways, I would resolve that incident, then I would gain a little bit of XP. And then perhaps I want to start moving towards the villain with another character, so I would use another card to move my character. Now, she is currently 1, 2, 3, 4 spaces away.
Okay.
So in terms of cost, I have to factor that in. It's 2 spaces for 1 energy. So I could use this one to move 4 spaces. So it's 2 energy times 2. So then I can move her 1, 2, 3, 4. She's now in the same space as this villain, and I can start attacking. You can do as many actions on your turn as you want, as long as you have the energy to pay for the cost.
Okay.
Yeah. So once I want to start attacking, then I start looking at this. I've got 3 power here, but my natural ability is times 2. So this is 6. And then I've also got 1 speed and 1 concentration. So I can already, if we have a look at her villain card, the first thing that I need to do is deal 5 damage to her shield.
Okay.
So now that I can even just do 6 damage with this. So I can turn this sideways, damage her shield, and then we pop a little token on it to show that that's done.
Okay.
Now, she's still alive, this villain. So if I wanted to do anything else, I can, because I've still got 2 cards left. Perhaps I don't want to.
Okay.
In this deck builder, you don't have to throw away these cards at the end. You can save them if you want.
Gotcha.
So perhaps I might end my turn here and leave something to the rest of the team. So then I would take all the cards that I've used, pop them away, and then I draw more from my deck.
Okay.
And what was I going to say? So somebody else might want to come in and help me defeat the next part. But once she's finished her turn and it's still on the board, then I have to take a damage card and pop that in my discard pile as well.
Oh, okay.
Which is why you need the healer, because this starts just clogging up your deck.
Okay.
Then there's the other things to think about is if there's any really dangerous incidents that would, start risking lives in Tokyo. If you leave them on the board too long, they start getting these little burn tokens as well. And if they get 2 of those, you lose the game.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
So that makes things a lot more complicated.
It does. And then once you've done your turn, you'll move your marker and pop on the incident that's below it onto the board and make sure that none of these require any markers on them. And I think, what's the next? Hang on. There's a nice little section here. So yeah, you check out how many of these need any tokens. You take any damage that you need to take, refresh your hand. And then once you get back to this giant one, if it's that after the end of your turn, then really bad things start happening. So you move this down for any amount of yellow and red incidents on the map. If this gets to 15, all the way down here, you will lose the game. So you've got to really make sure that that doesn't happen. Villains start doing their abilities, and other villains start coming out as well. So the best way to do it is really just try and villain rush while making sure that nothing on the board gets too bad.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm guessing that is easier said than done.
Yes. It's quite a difficult game. I've played it 2 players. I think I played it 3 times in a row one night, and we just couldn't win.
Okay, wow.
We changed characters up. It sort of depends on which villains come out and then which characters you've chosen. Because obviously some characters are going to be much more effective against some villains. There are some villains as well that when you defeat them, you can convince them to turn good. And then you start getting extra characters, which is great, and that helps you immensely. Yeah.
I love it. I'm looking at the board, and I love this sense of vastness of the city.
Really well drawn, isn't it?
It is amazing, absolutely lovely. Expansions, plans for the game?
Yep, we have currently, we've got the Akihabara web expansion, which is the scenario expansion. So you get a few cards in here, a couple of characters, and then the whole story is actually online. So you can choose whether one person will read out the story or everybody can access it on their devices and read through it. And there's certain conditions in here that are different to these conditions to help you win the game.
Okay.
We've also got a little promo pack, which is just 4 characters. It's me, the designer, Eric, and Heather, who is Eric's right hand. And yeah, we've got that so far. In Japan, this game is actually up to number 4 already, so this is number 1. They've got up to number 4, and they've got a good amount of like mini scenario expansions, bits of story and so on, and comics as well. So we do have plans to continue working on the line. There's so much to work on.
I was going to ask, I mean, when is the anime coming out? Because this is begging for it.
As soon as anyone comes up to us and says we want to make an anime, that would be amazing. I think Emmy would be very pleased with that.
You heard that, right? You've heard that they want to make an anime?
Just get in contact with me and I'll tell Emmy, and then we'll sort something out.
And I think this is the best place to end the interview, so you don't languish any longer there, and you go out there and find the anime person to make this game happen like now.
Yeah.
Go.